Very good morning, dear students. In this video, we will discuss about another important chapter, that is P block elements. So P block elements are the elements which are present in the periodic table. There are several elements present in the periodic table. To study about each and every element individually, it's very difficult. So that they have divided these elements into groups and periods. Now we want to discuss about these P block elements group wise. So based on the capacity of p orbital, so there are 6 important groups in the p block elements, because the p orbital can able to fill 6 electrons. P orbital containing 3 suborbitals. Each suborbital can able to fill 2 electrons. Then total number of electrons can be able to fill in p block or p orbital is nothing but 6. So based upon the type of configuration which it has, it is classified into 6 important groups. If suppose the p block elements containing ns2 np1 configuration, then those belongs to 13th group elements. Okay, if p block elements containing ns2 np2 configuration, those are said to be 14th group elements. If p block elements containing ns2 np3 configuration, those are said to be 15th group elements. If p block elements containing ns2 np4 configuration, those are called as 16th group elements. And there are 2 more important type of configurations, that is ns2 np5, ns2 np6. So they are said to be 17th group elements and 0 group elements or 18th group elements. So these are the 6 important groups present in the p block. Among 6, already you have studied about 13th and 14th group elements in first PUC itself. Now we want to discuss about these 4 important groups in second PUC. Now among all these 4, now I am going to explain about 15th group elements. Okay, so first we will discuss what are the elements in 15th group. So that 15th group is containing 5 important elements, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. So these are the 5 important elements present in the 15th group. So this is containing the configuration as 2s2, 2p3. As we know, 15th group elements should contain the outermost configuration as ns2 np3. np is nothing but 2p. In 2p only 3 electrons are present. Now phosphorus 3s2, 3p3. For arsenic 4s2, 4p3. For antimony 5s2, 5p3. In between we can also see f orbitals and d orbitals except in nitrogen. Now 6s2, 6p3. That means all these are containing the outermost configuration which resembles as ns2 np3. So we can call them as 15th group elements. Whatever the elements containing such kind of configurations in their valence shell, then those are said to be 15th group elements. Now we want to discuss about the properties of these elements. Okay, so main importantly, first we will discuss about allotropic property of 15th group elements. Allotropic property or allotropy is nothing but the elements which are having the same chemical formula but exist in different types of physical states, then that is said to be allotropy. Okay, these elements can show different types of allotropic forms. So first of all we will discuss about nitrogen. Nitrogen allotropes are of 2 types, that is alpha nitrogen, next one beta nitrogen. Okay, alpha nitrogen and beta nitrogen. Next, phosphorus. Phosphorus can exist in 3 different types of allotropic forms: white phosphorus, red phosphorus. There are different types of allotropic forms shown by this phosphorus. First one is white phosphorus. This white phosphorus is also called as yellow phosphorus. Next, second one is red phosphorus. Next, alpha black phosphorus. Next, beta black phosphorus. Another one is violet phosphorus, and next one is scarlet phosphorus. Okay, these are the different allotropic forms of phosphorus. Now we'll discuss about arsenic. Arsenic can exist in important types of allotropic forms. First one is metallic, and this metallic is also known as grey arsenic. Next one, non-metallic, which is also known as yellow yellow arsenic, or we can also call it as black arsenic, yellow arsenic or black arsenic. Next, antimony. Okay, so antimony can also exist in different types of allotropic forms. First one is crystalline. Next one is non-metallic. This non-metallic is also known as yellow antimony. Next one, alpha antimony. Next, finally, explosive antimony. So these are the different types of allotropic forms of elements present in the 15th group elements. Now we will discuss about the oxides of these group elements. First we will see about oxides of nitrogen. So oxides of nitrogen, first one is nitrous oxide. This nitrous oxide is also known as laughing gas. Formula of laughing gas is N2O. Okay, laughing gas formula N2O. Next one, dinitrogen monoxide. Dinitrogen monoxide. Di indicates presence of two nitrogens. Monoxide means one oxygen. Okay, this is the same one. So this is also known as dinitrogen monoxide. This is first type. Next, second type is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide. Nitric oxide formula NO. Next one, nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide. So this nitrogen dioxide is indicated by NO2. Next, this is also exists in dimeric form, that is dinitrogen tetroxide. Okay, this dinitrogen tetroxide formula N2O4. The dimeric form of nitrogen dioxide is this one. Next one, nitrogen trioxide. Nitrogen trioxide. Simply I will write the formulas, you just remember. This is nitrogen trioxide. Next one, nitrogen pentoxide, N2O5. We can also call it as dinitrogen pentoxide. Now we will discuss, these are about the oxides of nitrogen. Now we will discuss about oxides of phosphorus. Okay, so phosphorus can exist in two different types of oxides. First one is phosphorus trioxide. Phosphorus trioxide. Formula of phosphorus trioxide is P2O3, or it is also exists as P4O6 as dimeric form. Next one, phosphorus pentoxide. Phosphorus pentoxide. Formula is P2O5, which is pentoxide. So the dimeric form of this is P4O10. Okay, so either this or this we can write as a formula of phosphorus pentoxide, and this is phosphorus trioxide. Now we will discuss about oxo acids of phosphorus. Oxo acid, oxide in the sense phosphorus which exists along with the oxygen, that is called oxide of phosphorus. Now we are discussing about oxo acid of phosphorus. Oxo indicates presence of oxygen, acid indicates presence of hydrogen. So the phosphorus along with oxygen and hydrogen combination is called oxo acid of phosphorus. So we will see different types of oxo acids of phosphorus. First one, hypophosphorus acid. Hypophosphorus acid. Formula H3PO2. This is called hypophosphorus acid. Next one, orthophosphorus acid. Orthophosphorus acid. Formula H3PO3. these formulas very important, you just make it write it down. Next one, orthophosphoric acid. Orthophosphoric acid, there is a difference between these two. This is orthophosphorus acid and this is orthophosphoric acid. Formula H3PO4. Next, peroxyphosphoric acid. Peroxyphosphoric acid. Formula H3PO5. Next one, pyrophosphoric acid. Pyrophosphorus acid. It's not phosphoric, it's phosphorus acid. Pyrophosphorus acid. Formula of pyrophosphorus acid is H4P2O5. H4P2O5. Next, hypophosphoric acid. Hypophosphoric acid. Formula H4P2O6. This is hypophosphoric acid, H4P2O6. Next one, pyrophosphoric acid. Pyrophosphoric acid. So this is pyrophosphorus acid and this is pyrophosphoric acid. Formula H4P2O7. Okay. Next one, this is the last oxo acid, that is metaphosphoric acid. So metaphosphoric acid formula is HPO3 taken N. That means this kind of formula repeated in N times. So these are about the oxo acids of phosphorus. You can observe all these oxo acids. So here the central atom is phosphorus. Along with phosphorus, what are the two elements existing? Oxygen and hydrogen. Phosphorus which exists along with oxygen and hydrogen, all those are said to be oxo acids of phosphorus. Okay. So now we will say about different types of oxides. That means which can show acidic nature, which can show basic nature, which can show amphoteric nature, and which is neutral in state. That kind of oxides we will discuss now. Firstly, acidic oxides. Whatever the oxides of nitrogen and phosphorus we have discussed, among all, N2O3 and N2O5, P4O6 and P4O10. These four are acting as acidic oxides. Now, amphoteric oxides. Amphoteric oxides. What is meant by amphoteric? The property which can exist as, or which can show both acidic nature and basic nature, that is called as amphoteric in nature. So that type of amphoteric oxides are As4O6 and Sb4O6, arsenic trioxide and antimony trioxide. These two are amphoteric in nature, which can act as sometimes acidic and sometimes basic. Now, basic oxides. So, basic oxides are Bi2O3. Bismuth trioxide can act as one of the basic oxide. Next, neutral oxides. Neutral oxides. Neutral oxides, that means they neither act as acidic nor as basic. Example, N2O and NO. This laughing gas and nitric oxide, both can act as neutral oxides, are examples of neutral oxides. So now we'll discuss about general properties of these group elements. First, atomic radius. If you see atomic radius of all these elements, always we want to study about top to bottom, because group wise we are studying, so we want to discuss from top to bottom, that is from nitrogen to bismuth. Nitrogen to bismuth, it's always increases. Atomic radius, because number of energy levels gets increases, then automatically its atomic radius also increases from nitrogen to bismuth. Okay, next one, metallic character. If you observe metallic character, nitrogen and phosphorus, these two are non-metals. Next, arsenic and antimony are metalloids. Arsenic and antimony. These two are metalloids. Metalloids means which contains both metallic property and non-metallic property. Next, bismuth. Bismuth is a completely metal. That means metallic character from top to bottom increases. First two elements are always non-metals. Next, another two elements, arsenic and antimony, are metalloids which contains both metallic and non-metallic property. And last element, that is bismuth. Bismuth is a complete metal. Next, conductivity property. As we know, metals conducts electricity and heat, and these two, nitrogen and phosphorus, are completely non-metals. They are said to be, nitrogen and phosphorus are said to be non-conductors because they are not metals, so we can consider them as non-conductors. Next one, arsenic and antimony are poor conductors. Especially arsenic is a poor conductor. Okay, next, antimony and bismuth. These two are good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay, so antimony and bismuth, these two are good conductors of heat and electricity. So that is about the metallic property. Now we will discuss about ionization potential. So this ionization potential or ionization energy or enthalpy is nothing but the amount of energy which is required to remove the last electron from an element in its gaseous state or in ionic state, that is called ionization potential. So that ionization potential values are said to be very high when compared to other elements. Okay, this is due to containing half filled capacity. So the electronic configuration of these group elements are ns2 np3. That means in np orbital 3 electrons are half filled in p orbital. As we know, an element which is containing half filling property or completely filled electrons, that is highly stable. Now even these group elements are highly stable. So if you want to remove one electron from the outermost shell, okay, that is from the stable configuration, it require more amount of energy, thereby ionization potentials gradually increases. That means when compared to other group elements, that is when compared to 14 group elements and 16 group elements, these 15 group elements are having high ionization potentials. If you observe this ionization potential electronegativity from nitrogen to bismuth, this ionization potential as well as electronegativity, both I am telling, okay, electronegative property, ionization potential, both decreases. Remember this point, ionization potential and electronegativity both decreases from nitrogen to bismuth. If you observe electron affinity property, okay, such electron affinity property or order is given as, that is nitrogen which is less than phosphorus, greater than arsenic, greater than antimony, greater than bismuth. That means nitrogen is containing least electron affinity property than phosphorus, whereas phosphorus is containing more electron affinity property than arsenic. Okay, this is about the order of electron affinity of these group elements. Okay, now melting points. If you observe melting point of these group elements, that is nitrogen family, so this melting point increases up to arsenic. Okay, from nitrogen to arsenic it increases and then decreases. Then that means from arsenic to bismuth it decreases. Okay, that you want to remember the melting point order for these nitrogen family. Nitrogen to arsenic it increases, again from arsenic to bismuth it gradually decreases. That is about the melting point property of these group elements. Remember, 15 group elements are also known as nicogens. Okay, why they are calling as nicogens? Because they are having the property to form pungent smelling gases. Okay, they are containing the property to form pungent smelling gases like ammonia gas. That's why we can call them as nicogens. Okay, that is about the melting point property. Now we will discuss about another properties. Next important property is allotropic forms of phosphorus. Nitrogen and other elements are also there, but among the all, allotropic property of phosphorus is very much important. You can expect a question from this. So we will see what are the allotropic forms shown by this phosphorus. First one is white phosphorus. This is the first allotropic forms of phosphorus. Okay, if you observe this white phosphorus, so its formula is P4. Okay, that means 4 phosphorus atoms or elements are present. Okay, and the bond angle present between any two phosphorus atoms is said to be 60 degrees. So this is stored under water. Stored under water. Phosphorus formula, white phosphorus formula is P4. 4 phosphorus atoms are present at each corner of tetrahedron, and the bond angle between any two phosphorus atoms is said to be 60 degrees, and this phosphorus is white phosphorus molecule has totally pp bonds 6. 6 phosphorus bonds are present. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 phosphorus bonds are present in it, and it is most reactive. This is very important. White phosphorus is most reactive. As we know, when reactivity increases, stability decreases. Least stable and more reactive in nature. This is due to having high bond angle strain. High bond angle strain. Because of having high bond angle strain or more bond angle strain, it is most reactive and less stable. Okay, and it is a white waxy solid. White waxy solid and poisonous in nature. Okay, and it is poisonous in nature. So this phosphorus is having the property to react with sodium hydroxide solution. Okay, sodium hydroxide solution, and it can be converted into phosphine, and it releases sodium hypophosphate. It is NaH2PO2. To balance this reaction, take here 3 moles of NaOH and 3 moles of water. So when pH3 is released, then 3 moles of NaH2PO2 is released, and this product is called phosphine. White phosphorus is involved in the preparation of phosphine. Phosphine formula pH3. Okay. Next, another important allotropic form of phosphorus is red phosphorus. As already mentioned in the name, it is red in color, and even it is having a polyhedron structure which is polymerized. Okay, so polymerized in the sense this kind of P4, its formula is also P4. So this kind of units are many combined together can exist as a polymer. Example, we will take the structure. Okay, there will be no bond here because this phosphorus is in bond formation with another monomeric unit. Okay, it is also in bond formation with another phosphorus of next monomeric unit. Like this, it can exist as a polymer. When n number of monomeric units of white phosphorus combine together, it leads to give a red phosphorus. It is obtained by heating white phosphorus at 573 Kelvin's temperature. At this temperature, whenever you heat this white phosphorus for several days, it can be converted into red phosphorus. Okay, it can be converted into red phosphorus. It is heated under high pressure. Okay, it is heated under high pressure and then can be converted into black phosphorus also. Okay, next, it is less reactive than white phosphorus. Less reactive than white phosphorus, and it does not glow in the dark. It does not glow in the dark. That is about the main important properties of red phosphorus. Next type of allotropic form of phosphorus is black phosphorus. So this black phosphorus can exist in two important forms, that is alpha black phosphorus. Next one, beta black phosphorus. This alpha black phosphorus is obtained from red phosphorus. Alpha black phosphorus is obtained from red phosphorus, which is heated in a sealed tube at 803 Kelvin's temperature. Whenever red phosphorus is heated in a sealed tube at 803 kelvins, it can be converted into alpha black phosphorus. Next, beta black phosphorus is obtained from white phosphorus. When this white phosphorus is heated at 473 kelvins temperature under high pressure. So then this white phosphorus can be converted into beta black phosphorus. So that is about the allotropic forms of phosphorus. Among all these allotropic forms of phosphorus, white is more reactive than red than black. Now we will discuss another property. So now another important general property is oxidation states. So these oxidation states are obtained for different types of elements, either by losing electron or by gaining electron. Whenever the element gain electron, they will show negative oxidation state. When they loses electrons, okay, from its outermost shell, they can show positive oxidation states. Okay, now we'll see the possible oxidation states for these 15th group elements. So 15th group elements, especially phosphorus and nitrogen, can able to show maximum number of oxidation states between +3 to +5. Okay, nitrogen and phosphorus, with very difficulty this phosphorus can show oxidation state exists between +3 to +5. Okay, so whenever they exist in either in the form of hydrides or in oxide state. So nitrogen and phosphorus, when they exist in hydride or oxide state, they can show oxidation states between +3 to +5. So this is about the oxidation states of the oxidation state shown by nitrogen and phosphorus. So the common oxidation state shown by 5th group elements or 15th group elements is -3, +3 and +5 oxidation states. So these three are the common oxidation states shown by this 15th group elements. Along with that, nitrogen can able to exhibit all these oxidation states from -3 to +5, and along with that it can also show -1/3 oxidation state, -1/3 oxidation state in N3H state. This is one of the hydride of nitrogen. In this N3H state, the oxidation state of nitrogen is -1/3. This is very important one. What is the oxidation state of nitrogen in N3H? It's not NH3. NH3 is ammonia. N3H, this is one of the hydride of nitrogen. In this case, the oxidation state of nitrogen is -1/3. Now, the stable oxidation state for bismuth. Bismuth is stable in +3 oxidation state. This is due to inert pair effect. Because of this inert pair effect, bismuth is highly stable in +3 oxidation state. Okay, so that means here -3 oxidation state from nitrogen to bismuth. -3 oxidation state from nitrogen to bismuth decreases. Stability of -3 oxidation state from nitrogen to bismuth decreases. Next, stability of +5 oxidation state. +5 oxidation state. So this decreases from nitrogen to bismuth. +5 oxidation state also decreases. As I already told you, bismuth is stable in +3 but not in +5. That's why nitrogen to bismuth always this +5 oxidation state decreases. Next, +3 oxidation state. So this +3 oxidation state increases down. That is from nitrogen to bismuth. Okay, nitrogen to bismuth, it increases. Nitrogen is less stable in +3 oxidation state, whereas bismuth is highly stable in +3 oxidation state. Okay, now we will discuss about another important topic. So next, anomalous properties of nitrogen. What is meant by this anomalous behavior? Though the nitrogen belongs to 15 group elements, it will be showing unique properties than other elements present in the same group. Then that type of property is called anomalous behavior. So we will see what are those anomalous properties of this nitrogen element. So the anomalous properties of nitrogen is due to anomalous behavior of nitrogen is due to small size, high electronegativity and high ionization enthalpy. Okay, and non-availability of vacant d orbital. Non-availability of vacant d orbitals. So these are the reasons for anomalous behavior of nitrogen. Now we'll see what are the anomalous properties of nitrogen. Okay, so nitrogen can able to form only p-pi bond because there is no vacant d orbitals even in the nitrogen. Sorry, even vacant d orbitals are not present in the nitrogen, so it cannot show d-pi-p-pi bond. It can able to show only p-pi bond. So whereas other elements like phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, they can show d-pi-p-pi bond. They can form this d-pi-p-pi bond. It is not possible in nitrogen. So this is possible in nitrogen. This is about the anomalous behavior of nitrogen, one of the example for anomalous behavior. So now we will discuss about general chemical properties. First general chemical property is formation of hydrides. So these group elements, whenever combined with hydrogen present in the air, they can be converted into different types of hydrides. Especially now we will discuss about nitrogen hydrides. So nitrogen when combined with hydrogen, it can form NH3, which is known as ammonia, N2H4, which is known as hydrazine, and next one N3H, this is hydrozoic acid. So these are the three different types of hydrides which is given by nitrogen. Now we'll see about phosphorus hydrides. So phosphorus can form PH3, which is called as phosphine, P2H4, that is diphosphine. So P2H4 is diphosphine, which is least stable. It is least stable hydride of phosphorus. Now arsenic, antimony and bismuth. Arsenic, antimony and bismuth. So these can form only AsH3, arsenic or arsen, SbH3, stibine, and BiH3, bismuthine type of hydrides. Okay, that means common type of oxide shown by this group elements is MH3. MH3 type of hydrides can be shown by 15th group elements. In place of M, you can place either nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony or bismuth. Okay, all elements of this 15th group can show this type of hydrides except MH3. Remaining all other type of hydrides are poisonous except this one. This is non-poisonous. Remaining all are poisonous. Okay, except NH3, remaining type of hydrides shown or formed by the 15th group elements are poisonous in nature. So next we will discuss about another important property. So now we will discuss about different trends in some properties of hydrides shown by 15th group elements. So these are the hydrides shown by 15th group elements and we have to explain different types of trends in this hydrides. Especially first we want to discuss about melting points. So melting points for phosphorus hydride PH3 is less than arsenic, which is less than antimony, which is less than ammonia hydride or nitrogen hydride. Among all, which is having least melting point, phosphine is having least melting point. PH3 is having least melting point than this, than this, than this. Next, boiling points. PH3 is having least boiling point than arsenic hydride than ammonia. Here the trend is getting changed. So between these two, okay, when compared to melting point and boiling point, these two are changed. SbH3 is having more boiling point than the ammonia. Next, bond length. So bond length in case of NH3 is less than, PH3 is less than, AsH3 is less than SbH3 because the atomic structure is very less in the case of nitrogen, so bond length also decreases. Next, bond enthalpy. So bond enthalpy is inversely proportional to bond length. Bond enthalpy is very high for ammonia, than phosphine, than antimony, than arsenic. Okay, next, bond angle. So if you see bond angle, ammonia bond angle is more than phosphine, than arsenic, than antimony. Okay, this is about the different types of trends. Now we'll discuss about reducing power or reducing nature of these hydrides. If you observe reducing nature, ammonia is having least reducing power than phosphine, having less than arsine, less than stibine, which is less than bismuthine. Next, basic nature. What is meant by basic nature? The property to donate the electron pair or the property to attract the H plus ion or proton, that is called basic nature. Such basic nature is very high for ammonia, than phosphine, than arsine, than stibine, than bismuthine. Okay, next, if you observe stability order of these hydrides of 15th group elements. So NH3 is highly stable than PH3, which is stable than arsenic, which is stable than antimony, which is stable than bismuth. Okay, this is quite opposite to bond length. When bond length increases, stability decreases. Whenever bond length is less, stability is more. Bond length is very less in case of ammonia, so stability of ammonia is very high. So that is about the hydrides of these 15th group elements. So now another important chemical property of 15 group elements is oxides. So these 15 group elements can also react with oxygen present in the air, can form different types of oxides. Specifically, these can form M2O3, trioxides and pentoxides, M2O5. So trioxides and pentoxide. In place of M, you can write any one of the 15th group elements, either it is nitrogen, phosphorus or any other element. Okay, so these 15 group elements can form M2O3 and M2O5 type of oxides. Now, among these two, acidic nature of pentoxides is more than the trioxide. These are more acidic and these are less acidic. Acidic nature of pentoxides is more than these trioxides. Now, the acidic nature of trioxides like N2O3 to Bi2O3. So the acidic nature decreases acidic nature. So from nitrogen trioxide to bismuth trioxide, the acidic nature decreases. That means N2O3 is most acidic. Bi2O3 is most basic in nature. So Bi2O3 is most basic in nature and less acidic in nature, and this is highly acidic in nature and less basic in nature. That is about the different types of oxides which are formed by the 15th group elements. Now another important chemical property, halides. So what are halides? These are the compounds which are formed by 15 group elements when they react with halogens. As you know, halogens are 17th group elements, that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. When they react with this 15 group elements, they can form two important type of halides, that is MX3 type and MX5 type. MX3 is nothing but trihalides, MX5 is nothing but pentahalides. So these trihalides and pentahalides are formed by the 15th group elements. So for example, the trihalide found by nitrogen when they react with fluorine is NF3. So this NF3 do not undergo hydrolysis. It do not undergo hydrolysis process. Whereas other type of halides of nitrogen can undergo hydrolysis. Whereas PF3 is one of the type of halide formed by the phosphorus. This is weakly reactive weakly reactive with water. It can undergo reaction with water, but very less soluble in water or least reactive with the water. So pentachlorides of these group elements can be formed except nitrogen. Nitrogen, NCl5, does not formed or cannot exist because of the absence of d orbital. Because of the absence of d orbital, NCl5 do not exist in the nature. So this you want to keep in mind. Okay, so why NCl5 do not exist? Very important one. So NCl5, or which among the following halides of nitrogen do not exist? NCl5, pentachloride of nitrogen, do not exist because of the absence of d orbitals. So now we'll discuss about compounds of nitrogen. Whatever till we have studied, that is about the general properties and general reactions of the 15 group elements. Now we are entering into the important concept which you have already studied for PU level. So all these general properties and chemical reactions very important for the competitive, and from this I will explain only important reactions related to the compounds of nitrogen and phosphorus. So first we will discuss about compounds of nitrogen. In that the first one is dinitrogen. So first we want to see how to prepare this nitrogen. Dinitrogen formula N2. So this N2 can exist in the nature, but the existence of this dinitrogen which is not sufficient for the application, so we want to prepare it in the laboratory. So we will see what are the chemical reactions which are used to prepare this dinitrogen. The first one is by taking ammonium chloride, salts of ammonia. So when this ammonium chloride react with sodium nitrate, NaNO2 solution, it can be converted into N2 gas. This nitrogen and this nitrogen react together, N2 gas is released and it releases NaCl, salt, and what is left? Oxygens and hydrogens that can be released in the form of 2H2O. Okay, nitrogen gas is released when ammonium chloride react with sodium nitrate. Next, ammonium chromate, that is NH4 taken twice, Cr2O7. When this ammonium chromate is heated, so the two nitrogens present here, two nitrogens are there, right? They react together to release nitrogen gas, plus Cr2O3 is formed. And remaining hydrogens and oxygens, how many oxygens are left? 4, and 8 hydrogens can releases in the form of 4H2O. Okay, next one. By using nitrates also we can prepare this dinitrogen, that is barium nitride, BaN3 taken twice. So Ba is separated and 3N2 is released. Next, 2NaN3, this is sodium nitride. So when the sodium nitride is reacted, two sodiums are separated and can give 3N2 gas. Okay, nitrogen gases are released. These are the important methods to prepare dinitrogen. Now we'll see chemical properties. So in that chemical properties, nitrogen can react with non-metals like lithium. When lithium react with when nitrogen react with lithium on heating, it can be converted into Li3N. Okay, lithium nitride is formed. In the same manner, when magnesium react with nitrogen on heating, it can be converted into Mg3N2. This is also nitride of magnesium. To balance that, take here 3 moles of magnesium. So such magnesium and lithium can undergo reaction with nitrogen on heating, converts into nitrides. Next, in the same manner, nitrogen can also react with hydrogen. It can be converted into ammonia. To balance this reaction, take here 3 moles of nitrogen and 2 moles hydrogen and 2 moles of nitrogen, and this is called Haber's process. So in this Haber's process we can prepare ammonia by taking nitrogen and hydrogen gas. When these two undergo reaction, it can be converted into ammonia gas. Next, nitrogen when react with oxygen, it can releases 2NO, nitrogen monoxide or nitric oxide is released. So that is about the first compound of nitrogen, which is known as dinitrogen. Now we will discuss about ammonia. So ammonia is also one of the compound of nitrogen. Its formula is NH3. So this ammonia can be prepared by cyanamide process, and it can be prepared by or prepared from coal, and it can also prepared by Haber's process. Haber's process. Among all, the most important type is Haber's process. Okay, so the same ammonia can also be prepared from salts of ammonia. These three are the industrial methods which is used to prepare ammonia by using cyanamide method, from coal, and from Haber's process. Except these three, we can also prepare the same ammonia even by taking its salt. Example, when ammonium chloride, it is a salt of ammonia, react with sodium hydroxide, it can be converted into NaCl, and NH4 converts to NH3. Ammonia is released. One more hydrogen react with OH can release in the form of H2O. Okay. Now the same ammonia or ammonium chloride react with calcium hydroxide. To balance the reaction, take here 2 moles. That means 2 chlorides react with 2 calcium released in the form of CaCl2, plus NH4 is converted into 2NH3. 2 more hydrogens are there, right? These two react with 2 hydroxy groups, can release in the form of 2H2. So this is general methods. That means even by using salts of ammonia, we can prepare ammonia gas. Next, Haber's process. This is the most important industrial technique or process to synthesize ammonia in bulk amounts. So in this case, nitrogen, already we have seen the reaction. When nitrogen react with 3 hydrogens, it can be converted into 2NH3, and the amount of energy released or heat energy is released in this reaction is 93.63 kilojoules. This much amount of heat energy is released in the reaction, and the conditions for this process is temperature must be 725 to 775 kelvins. So the first condition for the Haber's process is temperature must be maintained between 725 to 775 kelvins, and the pressure should be 200 to 300 atmosphere. Next, catalyst used is iron oxide or iron. Finely divided iron or iron oxide is used as the catalyst. Promoters or molybdenum or oxides of potassium or aluminum. So these are used as the promoters which can activate the catalyst. Promoter activity is activate the catalyst. So this is about the important conditions of Haber's process. By following these conditions, whenever nitrogen react with hydrogen in the chamber, these two can be converted into ammonia by releasing this much amount of heat energy. So now the next type of compound of nitrogen is oxide of nitrogen. So there are several types of oxides of nitrogen. We will see one by one. First one is N2O. N2O is known as laughing gas. N2O is known as laughing gas, and it is a colorless neutral oxide. Colorless neutral oxide, and its structure is linear. And if you see the structure, it is in N bond O. So this is about the structure of N2O. Now the next type of oxide is nitric oxide. Its formula NO. So this nitric oxide is a colorless neutral gas. It is a colorless neutral gas. If you see its structure, it is existing in the form of N double bond O. The dimer of this is N double bond O. Okay, so that is about the, not dimer, it is a isomer. So that is about the nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a colorless neutral gas, and it is the structure, and the bond angle is 115 picometers. Okay, that is the bond length. Now nitrogen trioxide, that is N2O3, and it is known as sesquioxide. Nitrogen sesquioxide. Okay, this nitrogen sesquioxide is a blue color liquid at low temperature. So it is a blue color liquid at low temperature, and it is acidic oxide. Acidic oxide. Okay, now we'll see about its structure. If you see the structure, it is having two nitrogens. They are attached by single bond, and among the three oxygens, two oxygens present on one nitrogen, another oxygen is present on the second nitrogen. So that is about the structure of N2O3, that is nitrogen trioxide. Now nitrogen dioxide, formula NO2, or we can also write it as N2O4 in dimeric form. Okay, it is a reddish brown poisonous gas. It is reddish brown poisonous gas which is soluble in water. It is soluble in water, and it is paramagnetic property. Okay, it can show paramagnetic property due to having one odd electron. It is paramagnetic due to having one odd electron. Okay, there is a question, which among the following is paramagnetic in nature of oxides of nitrogen? That is NO2. Nitrogen dioxide is paramagnetic due to the presence of one odd electron. That odd electron may be present on the nitrogen. So if you see the structure, nitrogen, double bond O and single bond O. This is structure of NO2. Whereas nitrogen is containing one odd electron. Due to having this odd electron, we can say it is a paramagnetic in nature. Now we will see the next type of oxide, that is nitrogen pentoxide, formula N2O5. This nitrogen pentoxide is also known as anhydride of nitric acid. Anhydride of nitric acid. Okay, and it is a colorless solid. Colorless solid. If you see its formula, two nitrogens are there, 5 oxygens. In that, 2 oxygens can present on each nitrogen atom. Another 5th oxygen can act as a bridge between these two. Okay, so there is a question, which among the following is containing a bridge oxygen? So all these are not having bridged oxygen, but this nitrogen pentoxide is having a bridge oxygen which can connect the 2 nitrogen atoms. So that is about the different types of oxides of the nitrogen. Now we will see about oxoacids of nitrogen. So now we will discuss about oxoacids of nitrogen. There are two important types of oxoacids. First one is nitrous acid. Next one is nitric acid. Nitrous acid formula HNO2. Nitric acid formula HNO3. Among these two, these are oxoacids. I already told you, if oxygen and hydrogen exist along with some other element, that is called oxoacid. Among these two oxoacids of nitrogen, nitric acid is most important. Now we will discuss how to prepare, or what are the methods to prepare this nitric acid. So this nitric acid can be prepared by two important methods. First one is Birkeland method or Ide process. So Birkeland Ide process. Second one is Ostwald's process. Ostwald's process. Okay, so these two methods are used to prepare this nitric acid in the bulk amount in the laboratory or industrial level. If you see the structure of nitric acid, the central atom is nitrogen. This nitrogen is containing 3 oxygens. In that, one oxygen combined with hydrogen can make OH bond. Other 2 oxygens can present on the nitrogen atom. So this is about the structure of nitric acid. This nitric acid is used as a laboratory reagent, and it is also used in explosives like TNT and nitroglycerins, and it is also used in the nitration mixture along with the sulfuric acid. So different types of chemical properties and applications are there for this nitric acid. So you want to remember these two processes which are used to prepare nitric acid in the industries as well as in the laboratories. Now we will discuss about compounds of phosphorus. So the first compound of phosphorus is phosphine. Formula is PH3. So now we will see how to prepare this phosphine. First one is by using calcium phosphide. So calcium phosphide formula Ca3P2. When calcium phosphide undergo hydrolysis process, it can be converted into calcium hydroxide. 3 moles of calcium hydroxide is released and 2 moles of phosphine is formed. This is first one. Next, the same calcium phosphide undergo reaction with an acid, that is 6HCl, hydrochloric acid. Again it releases 3CaCl2 plus 2PH3, that is phosphine. So these two are the important methods to prepare this phosphine. Along with these two, one more important method is there by using white phosphorus. White phosphorus formula P4. When white phosphorus react with sodium hydroxide solution, NaOH and H2O. To balance the reaction, take here 3 moles of water and 3 moles of NaOH. It can be converted into PH3 and releases NaH2PO2. So 3 moles of this type of byproduct is released. So by using these 3 important methods, we can easily prepare this phosphine. So the phosphine is weakly basic like ammonia. It is a weak basic like ammonia. So for example, when PH3 react with HBr, that is acid, hydrobromic acid, converts into PH4 plus Br minus. This type of compound is liberated and it is used in the preparation of Holmes signals as well as smoke screens. So these two are uses or applications. Phosphine can be used in home signals as well as in the preparation of smoke screens. Very important questions. Okay, which among the following compounds can be used in the preparation of home signals or smoke screens? That is nothing but this phosphine. So that is about the first compound of phosphorus. Now we will see about another important compound of phosphorus. So now the most important topic of the phosphorus is oxoacids of phosphorus. I already told you what is meant by oxoacid. That is a compound of phosphorus which is containing both oxygen and hydrogen. Then that is called oxoacid of phosphorus. There are many types of oxoacids of phosphorus. Among all, most important types of oxoacids we will see. First we will see their names, then formula, then structure, oxidation state of phosphorus, finally the bonds present in that. So first one is metaphosphorus acid. Metaphosphorus acid. Okay, very important concept it is. Okay, so metaphosphorus acid formula is HPO2 and the structure, central atom is phosphorus. And you have 2 oxygens. In that, one oxygen combined with a hydrogen to form OH bond. Okay, another oxygen will make a double bond because the valency of the oxygen is 2. So that double bond is formed and the oxidation state of phosphorus is +3. And the type of bonds are one POH bond and one P double bond O bond. Okay, next type of oxoacid is hypophosphorus acid. Hypophosphorus acid. So this hypophosphorus acid formula is H3PO2. So central atom first you just write, that is phosphorus. So total number of hydrogens are 3. Okay, and oxygens are 2. In that first oxygen will always make a double bond with phosphorus. Another oxygen combined with hydrogen can form OH bond. And still 2 more hydrogens are there, they can make a single bond with the phosphorus. Like that you can easily remember. And the oxidation state of phosphorus here is +1. And the type of bonds, one POH bond and one P double bond O bond. Next 2 PH bond, P single bond H bond. So that is about the types of bonds. Next one, phosphorus acid. So this phosphorus acid formula is H3PO3. H3PO3. Central atom phosphorus. As I already told you, how many oxygens are there, it doesn't problem. Always you want to make one oxygen with double bond to the phosphorus. Okay. Still 2 more oxygens are there. In that 2 oxygens combined with 2 hydrogens can make 2 POH bond. And one more hydrogen is there, right? That will make a single bond with the phosphorus. Now Oxidation state of phosphorus here is +3 and 1 P double bond O bond is there and 1 PH bond is there and 2 POH bonds are there. Okay, now another type of oxo acid is orthophosphoric acid. This is phosphoric, remember, phosphoric acid, very important concept. Orthophosphoric acid formula H3PO4. Okay, central atom phosphorus. Among 4 oxygens, as we know, 1 oxygen will make a double bond with phosphorus and still 3 more oxygens are there. They combined with hydrogen can make 3 OH bonds with the phosphorus. Oxidation state is +5. Okay, number of bonds 1 P double bond O bond and 3 POH bonds. Okay, next metaphosphoric acid. Metaphosphoric acid. Metaphosphoric acid formula HPO3. This is metaphosphorus acid and this is metaphosphoric acid. Okay, central atom phosphorus. Among 3 oxygens, 1 oxygen will make a double bond. Okay, next still 2 more oxygens are there. Another one also make a single bond with the phosphorus. Another oxygen will make OH bond. Okay, oxidation state is +5 and number of bonds are 1 POH bond and 2 P double bond O bonds. Sorry, here also double bond. Okay, next type of oxo acid is hypophosphoric acid. Hypophosphoric acid formula H4P2O6. Here 2 central atoms phosphorus are there, right? Both. Okay, among 6 oxygens, 2 oxygens will make double bond with each phosphorus atom. Still 4 oxygens are there. Those 4 oxygens combined with 4 hydrogens to make 4 OH bond. And between these phosphorus atoms a single bond can exist and the oxidation state is +4. Type of bonds 2 P double bond O bonds and 4 POH bonds are present. Okay, and 1 PP bond is also present. Next type of oxo acid is pyrophosphoric acid. Pyrophosphoric acid formula H4P2O7. This is pyrophosphoric acid. The 2 central atoms are phosphorus and phosphorus. Among 7 oxygens, 2 oxygens will make double bond. Still 5 are there. In that 4 oxygens combined with hydrogen can make OH bonds. Still 1 more oxygen is left. That oxygen can act as a bridge between the 2 phosphorus atoms and the oxidation state is +5. Type of bonds are 4 POH bonds, 2 P double bond O bonds and 1 POP bond. That means this is containing a bridge oxygen. This is containing a bridge oxygen. Next, last type of oxo acid is peroxyphosphoric acid. Peroxyphosphoric acid formula H3PO5. Okay, central atom phosphorus. 1 oxygen ultimately forms a double bond with phosphorus. Still 4 more are there. In that 3 react with hydrogen can make OH bonds. So it is having a peroxy. So there should be OVO linkage. And this oxygen is in bond formation with hydrogen. Oxidation state is +5 and the type of bonds 1 P double bond O and 2 POH bond and 1 POOH bond. This is about the different types of oxo acids formed by the phosphorus. Very important concept. Okay, compulsorily there will be a question from this concept, that is oxo acids of phosphorus. So that is about the 15 group elements. You just try to concentrate on the topics whatever I have explained in today's class. Okay, based on this try to solve questions, because it is just a theory. If you know the concept easily, you can able to solve the questions. Okay.